What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to All Things Private Eye, and I am joined by a special guest, Clare Grant. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Now, I know that in this movie you played the main female lead.
Correct.
Was this a different experience from any other productions that you've worked on, or was this like, I got this. This is normal for me?
It was pretty normal for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What, is there anything that was different in this production than any other production?
I mean, it was fun. I loved working with Matt. He's a good friend of mine, and we had known each other for quite a while. So, I actually don't. Oh, that's not true. I only occasionally get to work with like my closest friends.
Oh,
you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because did this feel more fun then because you were actually working with people that you knew? Because I always hear like in the industry, work with your friends. It makes it way better. And I've done a lot of productions with my friends, and I've done productions without my friends. And the ones that I've done without my friends have not been as fun.
Well, you're on set for at least 12 hours and sometimes longer.
Yeah.
And so working with your friends is great in two ways. One, you're working with your friends, so the time doesn't seem as long. And then two, if you're working with your friends, you generally, you know what to expect from them, and you can also trust them.
That's love. Now, are you from LA?
I'm from Memphis.
Wow. Do you ever miss it?
All the time.
Yes? Do you go back often or not?
I usually do. I'm usually back about 3 times a year.
Wow. When you do go back, are they like, I just watched your film, or I just did this, or are they just kind of like, yeah, welcome back to Memphis?
Yeah, for the most part, anyone who I knew, who I was friends with, you know, that I was close to, like, they don't care about anything I'm working on. They're just excited to hang out with me.
Yeah.
It's the people that I didn't know that like were in school right behind me. Those are the ones who are like, if they see me, they're excited and they want to
talk about
LA.
Yeah. Like, I'm here. I want to talk about Memphis.
Yeah.
Was there anything specific that you did for this role? Or are you a method actor, as they say?
No, absolutely not. I am not a method actor. I just, there wasn't anything I had to do specifically about this movie. I kind of like to just know who my character is and what her relationships are and, you know, what's going on, and then just sort of just play off of whoever I'm with.
That's
you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that is exciting you right now? Are you working on anything?
I'm writing some things right now, and I'm excited about that. And I have another indie movie that just got accepted to the LA Comedy Film Festival. Hey. And that movie is probably the most ridiculous movie I've ever made, and definitely the most fun I've ever had, and an example of just working with my best friends. We were all like, let's go to a cabin in the middle of the mountains and make a horror movie.
Oh, is it a slasher?
It's a movie about a top hat that kills people.
Oh,
talking top hat that kills people.
Sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So in that film, what's it called?
Hanky Panky.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a top hat that's going to kill people.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a hanky in it that is also sentient and talks as well.
Was there drugs involved in this movie?
Yeah.
I guess if it's called Hanky Panky,
yeah, absolutely,
there has to be some drugs involved.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, writing, directing, acting, what is your favorite out of all those?
Wow. They all do different things. When you get to perform, that feels so good on the inside, and it makes you feel like you're the most you, you know, or at least that's how I feel when I'm acting.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's, getting to connect to a character and connect to other actors, and if it's on stage, connecting to the audience. There's no greater feeling than that. And also allowing yourself to feel things.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
but I like the solidarity of writing. That's really great. And right, and then the writing process before you pass it off to people for notes is awesome, because then you're just sort of like free. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there a nerve-wracking when you send off something that you've been spending so much time on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want to throw up.
Yeah.
Like absolutely want to throw up. It's awful.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
So I want to get into like a little bit of the backstory of you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When did you come to LA, and what spawned that move?
I came to LA in the beginning of 2005.
Okay.
And I had been following a path for theater. I was really into musical theater, and my end goal was Broadway, right? And that's what I went to school for. But while I was in school, all of my professors kept edging me towards on-camera acting, and honestly, I was like a little offended by it. But this, then as I waited tables through college, and I had this one regular be like, "Oh, I wouldn't do this normally, but you've been our waitress for like 3 years, and I own this modeling agency, and I really think you should model." And I didn't want to do it, but I had just been told by my college professors that I should sign up for that modeling agency, because there wasn't a film agency in Memphis, but anytime films came into town, they would try to book through that modeling agency.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, this is two things from the universe coming together. I should definitely say yes to this. And I did, and I hated modeling, but I did get a film audition through that, which was Walk the Line. It was this movie about Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And so I got that movie, I got my SAG card, and then I just started booking every single film role that came into town. And then once my SAG card kicked in, I was like, well, I guess I can't work in Memphis anymore.
Yeah.
And I had a sibling who was living in LA at the time, and I was like, maybe I just go spend a summer with my sister and see what happens. And I came to spend a summer with my sister, and so much happened, and I just never left.
Yeah, that summer turned into a full life here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You know,
Yeah.
I'm always interested in how people get into acting, and it always seems like the ones that do really well, the path is not as, I wouldn't say gruesome, but like you hear about, like I have a lot of friends who are trying to act, and they are banging on, these agencies. They're trying to get in and taking acting classes and going all that, but it seemed like you put in your 10,000 hours in Memphis and it just called you to go.
Yeah, maybe I didn't get my full 10,000 in,
Yeah.
I think I tried to take advantage of the tiny little ball of momentum that I had.
Yeah.
And I just came up with a strategy to submit myself to agencies and management companies the same week that movie came out.
Okay.
And the role just happened to be it was very small, but it was like a pivotal point in the movie, and they ended up using it in all of the trailers and all of the things. And so my face was just
Plastered
out there.
on it, yeah.
And when I submitted the week that movie came out, people were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I recognize this girl."
Yeah.
And before I did that, I moved I think that movie came out in November, and I moved to LA in February, and I spent that whole time, I did as many student films and independent movies, anything. I worked for free. I just got as much footage as I possibly could, so that I could cherry pick scenes that looked good and also were a decent representation of being able to say words on camera.
Yeah, no, that's, it's a testament to your ability to see the trajectory of way things are going. I find you, from just speaking to you now, I find you as somebody that has the ability to assess and be like, okay, what's the next step? Whereas I think a lot of creatives are just like, I'm a creative. And if you can't accept my art, there's no strategy in the way that you moved to LA. And then also, I wanted to ask you this. I have read somewhere that every person who's not from LA, they move to LA, and that is the biggest decision of their life.
Yeah.
But it takes many more of those big, scary decisions once you're in LA to continue going.
Yeah.
Is there any moments that you can look back on from you moving to LA and thinking, oh, these were huge moments that I had to make really hard and tough decisions during that time? I know it's a really wide question.
No, yeah. Yeah, little things like, or I guess not even little things, but the moment that I got to a place where I was like, is now the time that I quit my night job? Do I really quit my night job and just like have faith that I'm going to book jobs, get enough in residuals, or do whatever I can to make sure I can pay my rent this month?
Yeah.
That was definitely a tough, decision, and when it was time, I was so fortunate to have a sibling that let me stay with them when I first moved out here. I think I stayed with my sister for 6 months, and moving out of her place was also really hard, you know. And then of course, and then lots of personal things going on.
Yeah.
You know, I at a certain point, I had to basically like choose between this relationship that I had been in for like 6 years of my life and like myself.
Yeah.
And that was a risk. Like, okay, well, do I essentially throw this away so that I can pursue this thing that is actually just luck, you know? Like maybe I'll make enough money to pay my bills every month. Who knows? I'm just going to try this. That was a tough one.
When did LA start to feel like home?
Oh, it's never felt like home.
It's never felt like home.
No, I say that. Anytime I leave the country, LA feels like home.
Okay.
Whenever I leave the country, I'm just so happy to get back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I every time I go and I do a trip, I like have fun for like the first week, and if it's any longer than that, I start to get antsy. And I always picture the moment that airplane starts to like break the clouds to go into LA, it's like a breath of fresh air for me. I'm like, oh, LA. So I'm from here. So, getting back into LA has always been like a little treat for me. It feels so good. There's nothing like it. I always say like there's nowhere like LA.
And no, this is a great city. I'm so happy I live here.
Yeah, I love it here. I know a lot of people have some hate, some reservations.
You
on
have
LA.
hate for wherever you live. It doesn't matter. I also had, because I never planned on living here, and I had this idea of what LA and the people in LA were like before I moved here, and it wasn't nice.
Yeah.
It just wasn't nice.
Everybody has that same idea.
I was like,
is.
these assholes, these stuck up people, like whatever, you know. I honestly thought that anywhere but here would be better.
Yeah.
And then I got here and I was immediately blown away with how pretty everything is. I didn't really expect it to be so pretty.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, this city is what you make of it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to hang out with the assholes.
Yeah.
It's not the city's fault that they flock here.
Yeah.
You know, you can choose to go where you want. You can choose to have whatever life you want. You just shrink your world and then you live in that world. And I found that living in other cities, you are sort of conformed to the rules of that city. And there are no rules here.
Yeah, because
no rules here.
You know, I always say too, a lot of people who have like this idea of the way LA people are is usually the person that they're thinking of is not even from LA.
No.
It's usually they flew into LA.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you know, I feel what you're saying about LA, but it's not really like that.
It's not.
And what can people look forward to from your character on this movie? Because I know you dismay some stuff in there. You hold everything together, but I know you kind of wrap things up.
My character is a bit of a mystery. She comes in and she's got a lot of very strong feelings, and she seems like she might be crazy, and you don't really know why, and you just sort of go with it, you know, as the audience. You're like, oh, this is crazy. And it's not until the end that you start to piece together who she actually is. And then you start to piece together what's happening, you know, and it actually sort of you piece together what's happening through her eyes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting film. I haven't really seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
And it's just like when it first starts off, you're really confused and you're like, wait, what is happening? And then as the movie moves on, like towards the second half, is when everything kind of comes together and it's all those aha moments that happen. So I'm just really excited for the audience to see it. I'm excited for them to see your character. I think they're gonna get a kick out of it. It's gonna make them feel something at least. And you know, where can the people find you? Let's say they watch the movie, they fall in love with your character. How do they follow your journey?
I am at Clare Grant everywhere. No I in Claire, because I spell it the real way, not the
Hey, let them know.
imperial American way. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Clare Grant, everyone. I'm excited for you guys to watch the movie, and thank you for joining me. It was great meeting you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.